Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Season Keepers, the show where the only two people we recommend keeping for the season is us. My name's Matt, aka Clean Sheet Wipeout.
My name's James, aka SK James FPL.
Hey, you got it right.
Yeah, I thought I was going to trip up then.
I know.
But yeah, new Twitter, I'm back on there. Trying to get as many followers that I had before again. I think I'm on 77 at the moment, so a long way to go.
Yeah,
But
very much so.
the main players are there, I think, following me so far. But
Exactly.
if you haven't, follow me up.
Yeah, back from your Twitter ban after you were sat on the naughty step for what felt like ages. But yeah, you obviously can't get your drug account back. But thankfully, SK James FPL seems to cover all bases, to be honest.
Oh yeah, it does.
I think it was a pretty good week for the both of us, wasn't it?
Oh, it really was. I think we're both very happy. Can't complain.
No, exactly. I think we'll obviously cover the scores off at the end, but it's nice to start the pod off in a positive mood for once. And talking of positivity, it leads straight into the fixtures because first things first, James, Southampton won, Aston Villa nil.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Obviously, a very early goal from Armstrong.
Yeah,
Brilliant strike, and we played very well for the rest of the game. Defended well. Very happy with our performances. It's good stuff. We're getting a bit of momentum now.
yeah, agreed. I was also at the game. Went there after work, and I was actually quite excited going to the ground, knowing that we were on a good run of form, and Villa were obviously on a poor run of form. And yeah, started so well with Armstrong's finish, and Stuart Armstrong missed a sitter, absolutely blazed it over the bar to probably make it 2-0. And it's always that frustration with Saints, isn't it, that we're not putting teams to bed, even though we're creating the chances. But yeah, thankfully Villa weren't great going forward, and defensively we were solid. Salisu particularly impressive again. One thing I did notice, and I mean, obviously Livramento has been pulled out of the England under 21s during the international break. His calf was heavily strapped during the warm up, so I was sat at the very front with my old man, and they were warming up right in front of us, and yeah, his calf was really strapped, so he might have been carrying a knock. And during the game, there was a lot of us around commenting on it that Carl Walker Peters was the one that was bombing forward on the wing, and Livramento was very much holding position for long periods of the game. Occasionally, he'd go forward, and there was one particular incident towards the end of the second half. I think that I think Prowsey was looking for the space, and there was huge space on Livramento's side. You'd normally expect him to be bombing into it, and he wasn't there. And Prowsey kind of looked
Mm.
up and was like, "Where are you?" But yeah, I think he was carrying a knock, which is probably the reason why he's pulled out of the squad.
Yeah, a bit worrying, obviously, because he's such a threat going forward. But obviously, the clean sheet was will definitely take that all day long.
Yeah, definitely.
What I am surprised is there's still a lot of people benching him week after week.
Yeah, baffles me. He's what 4.5 million now, and I genuinely think it's his price that makes people bench him. Like I've refused to bench him for the past 3 weeks because I got burned once. Um, but he's such a good asset, and our fixtures are strong. That's been the thing. It's not like you've been trying to play him against Chelsea, Man City, and West Ham, for instance. It's been Burnley, Watford, and Aston Villa. Yeah, obviously we conceded two to Burnley, but you know, clean sheet at Watford, clean sheet at Villa. We've obviously got Norwich ahead. Yeah, they've got a new manager, but they haven't looked particularly impressive going forward. I wouldn't be benching him in the next fixture either. After that, sure, our fixtures turn again, but you've only got yourself to blame if you bench Tino.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's a threat going forward, keeping clean sheets. You can't ask for more.
No, exactly. I'm sure I've seen someone that had him third on their bench this week, which is baffling. Really bothers me. But obviously, it's only right we touch on Aston Villa. And first things first, Dean Smith gone.
Yep, big news. Will be interesting to see who they go for. I don't know if they'd be able to get, say, Nuno. Don't know if
I'd be
that's the
I'd be
route they're going
very
down.
surprised. But I think the big rumor going around at the moment, and it might only be a rumor, is Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, I mean he's done a decent job at Rangers. So maybe he'd go there. Um, be interesting to see how he'd get on.
Yeah,
Um, Whoever comes in, Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because they've spent money in the window. They've
Yeah,
brought
they
in
have.
like the likes of Ings and stuff, but it's just not really worked.
No, and it's whether the formation hasn't been getting the best out of them. But obviously, the likes of Buendia been out of position for much of the season so far, hasn't he? And Ings has been always injured now. Surprise. Um, Bailey was obviously injured for a period, so he's not at the best of luck. But yeah, I think what 5 losses on the bounce. Yeah. For me, it was inevitable. They were going to make a change. If they were, it was going to be before the international break. I can see why Aston Villa fans are a bit gutted about it, given the work that Smith's done. But I think it might be the right time.
Yeah, same for me. I think makes sense.
Right, moving on then to the Saturday fixtures and the 12:30, obviously for Sky, which is an interesting slot. It was the Manchester derby. It was Manchester United 0, Man City 2.
Yep, all too easy for Man City in this game. It
Yeah.
it felt like a training exercise. Like they struggled to get the ball off City. City were just passing it around. Just very comfortable for a derby,
Yeah.
um, which was a bit surprising. And Cancelo obviously was exceptional in this game. 2 assists, a clean sheet, a 14-point haul, really. And I actually contemplated benching him before in the
Yeah.
game week.
Honestly, again, he was another one of those players that I've seen on people's benches this week. I don't know why, because Man United have been fucking shocking. And Cancelo, if obviously you keep an eye on Man City's Champions League fixtures, the Champions League game, 3 days before this, he got 3 assists. So he's on a bit of form himself, and I would not be benching a £6.4 million defender that is effectively a winger.
Yeah, no, exactly. I was at that game, the Champions League game, where he got 3 assists, and he
Mm,
was just amazing.
yeah,
And he was going through the middle, and he was very dangerous again. Obviously, in this game, he's going nowhere in my team now, and I
nah.
think I'm just gonna have to play him against everyone.
Genuinely, you play him every game. I think
Yeah,
you'd maybe question it at Liverpool, but I'd probably still play him because he's very likely to get at least an attack in return.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Obviously on the other side with Man United, they weren't particularly helped by the fact Bailly obviously scored an own goal. I think Lindelof did his best to try and score an own goal. And if it wasn't for David De Gea, it could have been worse. Obviously, I just think United really struggled to get into the game tactically. They just didn't know how to cope with Manchester City, and I guess it was similar to the Liverpool game in which they've come against a really good side, and they just don't have the skills, the tactics to deal with it. I genuinely believe, and obviously we said during the podcast that was happened after the game that Man United Tottenham result was really, it just papered over the cracks because Spurs, we both know that they aren't exactly in the best of positions and weren't at the time. Man United took advantage of that and played well, but yeah, this fixture really indicated how poor United are. Do you think that's an Ollie issue, or do you think that's a squad issue?
It's hard to say. It might be a bit of a mixture of the two. Because Ollie's actually been very good in previous derby fixtures against
Mm,
Man City.
yeah,
Tactically, he's got it right, and he's outsmarted Pep, and they've they've got the win, be it in the League Cup, the Premier League. They've actually had won most of the last few games. But yeah, just something wasn't right with this game. I don't know if the dressing room's a bit unsettled. Maybe
it,
Pogba's in there stirring things up, or other characters in the dressing room aren't happy with him. And I've heard criticism of him saying he's not tough enough on the players.
mm,
So maybe there's a lack of discipline there or lack of motivation.
wouldn't surprise me.
But I think it's hard to judge them on a game against Man City. I think if they were to lose to say an Everton or us or someone sort of mid to bottom of the table, then you can start asking questions. But Man
Yeah,
City are so good at the moment. I think it's a bit unfair to judge them on this game.
yeah, agreed. And I mean, if United were going to make a change, you would say they have to do it now because the sea of green fixtures. And I mean, green is probably the wrong color given obviously Palace there in a green. I think Palace will be an incredibly tough game. Newcastle, new manager, tough game. Even Wolves, they've got it as green, tough game. So as much as we might be jumping on United assets between now and the end of February, really, is when it turns for the worst for the end of the season. They've got a horrendous run between the 5th of March to the end of the season, really. Up till that point, their fixtures are, on paper, brilliant. So if they were going to make a change, surely you'd give a new manager that opportunity to develop the squad through these fixtures, not throw him in like Watford have done, for instance, with Ranieri just basically in the deep end and say, right, you've got this set of six horrendous fixtures, deal with it. But I don't think United are going to do it. I think they're the type of club that will probably hold Ollie until the end of the season and then make a decision.
Yeah, I think that too. To be honest, I can't see it happening during the season.
No, not at all. Right, let's jump on then to a fixture that probably took quite a few of us by surprise and is a little bit of annoyance given most of their assets at the moment are highly owned. It was Brentford 1, Norwich 2.
Yeah, very disappointing for those on Brentford assets. Obviously, some people are in Tony, some people have a double up with another Brentford player, and this is the fixture you would have had your eyes on, and it's disappointing for them because they've come away with nothing basically. Tony even got booked.
Yeah.
Obviously, the fixtures are still good after this game, but it does sort of raise a few questions, obviously, because Tony's been rising in price week after week, but he's not actually been doing anything.
It's been weird, hasn't it? Honestly, he seems to get a price rise every week. He's what is he now? He's up to 6.7. That's crazy, given he's only got 2 goals and 2 assists this season. So to get the continuous price rise, I just don't understand it. Like, yeah, he's up to what 0.2 gain. He started at 6.5, dropped to 6.4, then 6.3, and now he's found himself, even though he hasn't returned in the last 4 games, he's gained 0.4 million. I really don't understand the algorithms there.
Yeah, I think it's the fixtures. Like I was even tempted to get on him this week because I feel like this is where the returns are going to happen. So I completely understand people bringing him in, but now it does put you off.
It does a bit, yeah. And that Newcastle fixture isn't looking as tasty as it might have done, given obviously they've now made an appointment, which we'll touch on after. And then Everton, well, they look particularly good, against Spurs. It's tricky. So I think Tony for me, because I own him. Do you own him?
No.
Yeah. Well, so as an owner, I think I'm holding him maybe for the next 2. And then I'll reconsider because players like Callum Wilson, for instance, might come into the equation. And I think that's an easy swap.
Agreed.
And then on the other side, Norwich get the win, sack the manager.
Yeah, bit questionable to do that. I always find it strange when that happens. I remember it happened with Alan Pardew at Saints when we won 4-0 away at Bristol Rovers.
I know, madness.
And he got sacked. But yeah, this one, I feel like he should have gone earlier if you're going to make this decision. But obviously, the international break, it does give them a bit of time to try and get their replacements. I think they're looking at Guardiola, Hassan Hüttl.
I know. I see the list.
The list of managers they're going after. I'm like, what are you thinking? Why would Hassan Hüttl leave us for Norwich?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it made me chuckle.
But yeah, no, it's a bit strange. It's a bit of a sort of a sour one for the fans because they've obviously got a win, first away win of the season, and then they sacked the manager that got them promoted. So it's a bit of a shame, but I do understand the sacking.
Yeah, it feels like that decision was made before the game.
Yeah, definitely. Well, clearly.
Exactly. And a one-word answer, please. Is Timo Pukki now an option? Easy.
I get a pen every game.
Well, exactly. Right, moving on then to another surprise in a game in which I think the home team just didn't take their chances. It was Chelsea 1, Burnley 1.
What a load of bollocks. So I'm sat there with double Chelsea defence, so obviously eagerly awaiting the clean sheet, and then right near the end it gets sort of wiped out, and it's frustrating. However, I think Chelsea have sort of been riding their luck the last few games. They've actually had the opposition have had quite a lot of XG against them.
Yeah.
So they've been chances great. I mean, Brentford were basically bombing them for half an hour.
Oh, I know. Yeah, how they didn't
So I don't know how.
concede.
Yeah, don't know how they kept that clean sheet. So yeah, Burnley have gone and stolen it, and there's a lot of people on Chelsea defenders. Some even on the triple up,
Yeah, I know.
and obviously that would be really costly. But James, an attack in return, we both brought him in.
Yeah,
Very happy with that. Surely.
yeah, definitely. I mean, the toss up was between James and Chilwell, wasn't it? And as much as I think Chilwell may be the more nailed, I think you'll see more starts. Reece James's performances as of late have been exceptional, and I'd rather the explosivity of James at the moment than maybe Chilwell's consistency. As weird as that sounds, I just think it almost feels as if Aspilicueta, for instance, is down the pecking line and seems to be playing the Champions League games, but not the Premier League games. He's obviously missed the last three, which has meant Reece James has played right wing back, and he's exceptional in that position. So, yeah, I think hopefully continuing with the fixtures. Obviously, it's quite a tough run now. It's Leicester, Man United, Watford, and West Ham. It'll be interesting to see how Tuchel sets up against these teams, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Reece James maintain his place.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting him to, and I'm excited for the potential attack and returns that he might provide.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously that's why we've got benches. So if Reece James does miss out, yeah, he might occasionally come on for a one pointer, but you'll find that those people that are benching Tino Livramento will probably see him come on a few times if you are benching him and say playing Reece James.
Exactly.
Right then, moving on to a team that just can't stop winning, and I think we both undersold them a little bit at the start of the season. We're a little bit pessimistic, but they continue to perform. It was Crystal Palace 2, Wolves 0.
Yeah, fully loving life as a Conor Gallagher owner.
Unbelievable.
The last couple of games have just been a dream for me. I was actually prior to these two hauls thinking of how I could get him out of my team.
You won't be
Who
doing
could
that
move him?
anytime soon.
But yeah, now that's a problem well and truly solved. And yeah, he's looking a very, very good player. He's clearly enjoying his football at Palace, and I can see why people are now bringing him in because obviously he's very cheap and he's doing a good job.
Big time, yeah, because obviously we both play the Sky game, and Gallagher is becoming a Sky legend, but that's because of the tier points and the man of the matches. But yeah, for this, obviously, I could maybe see why you were considering selling him because he hadn't scored since game week 3. But yeah, to get a goal against City, a goal against Wolves, obviously the assist against City as well. He's got 24 points in 2 games, and it's Man City and Wolves. You can't really complain
Wasn't
about that.
expected.
No, 5.8 million, and you're getting 24 points in 2 weeks. It's banging in it.
Yeah, it's what makes FPL worthwhile when these
Absolutely.
things happen.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess another player that a lot of people maybe haven't thought about or aren't really considering at the moment that is playing himself into some form is the other goal scorer, Wolf Zaha.
Yeah, I think the whole Palace attack is pretty exciting. You've got, I think it started with a front three of Zaha, Edouard, and Benteke,
Yeah.
with obviously Gallagher in midfield, and it's quite exciting. I actually thought about maybe bringing Edouard in, just because he's looked really strong. But the only question mark really was the minutes.
Yeah. Well, that's the
There's like
thing.
maybe 1 minute Benteke plays, 1 minute Edouard plays. But yeah, Zaha looks very good.
He does.
But just I feel like I've been burnt from him in the
Yeah.
past, where
Too
he'll just
many
go on a
times.
run of about 5 games where he does nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to go there, especially with Gallagher, obviously.
Yeah. No, of course. If you're on Gallagher, I don't think you should go for the double up. But I guess the other thing that you've touched on there about who's going to play where is obviously Elise is there in the fold, and he only got 10 minutes, but he looks an incredible asset. And you've got Eze, who's obviously injured at the moment, but is due back. So I don't know how Vieira's going to slot all these players in, but good luck to him.
Yeah, I mean it's a good problem to have. They look really
Yeah.
dangerous going forward, and they're playing really good football.
Yeah. And defensively, they look solid as well.
Yeah, you can't ask for much more than that. I think it's a good time to be a Palace fan.
Exactly. And I don't really think there's much to say about Wolves. It wasn't a particularly impressive performance. So we will move on to another surprise result. However, might have been duped on by the fact that Eddie Howe was in the stands and has now been confirmed as the new Newcastle manager. It was Brighton 1, Newcastle 1.
Yeah, and Trossard doing the business again. He's really come into some form.
Big time.
Another goal. That's his third for the season. Also got an assist. He's just also looked very dangerous. He's had like goals ruled out against like Liverpool, I think, in the
Yeah.
previous game.
Yep.
Very dangerous. And I think the only player for Brighton that kind of looks worth having. Obviously, a lot of people are on Sanchez, and some tough luck for him to come flying out and get sent off.
Oh, mate, if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be raging at that because Wilson was through.
Yeah,
Basically, put it around Sanchez, and he's going to make it 2-1. And obviously, Sanchez takes him out. What I find baffling is the fact the referee didn't even give a foul to start with, and then it was VAR that intervened and said, "Ah, you got to look at that again, mate." So yeah, obviously sent off. And I've seen a few people on Twitter that have got Raya and Sanchez, so that's unlucky.
yeah, real tough luck. I'll be a little bit angry as a Newcastle fan that they didn't actually test Lewis Dunk when he was in goal.
What were they doing
Didn't
at
even
that free
take.
kick?
Yeah, exactly. Put it into the box rather than taking a shot on goal. I mean,
Yeah,
you might as well have a go. He's not a keeper, so he could have
exactly.
scored.
Yeah, didn't have to make a single save. That really surprised me. But
Definitely.
obviously, Eddie Howe has come in, and I think he's quite a good manager. To be fair, I think we've both had a bit of mutual respect for him. Obviously, did well at Bournemouth, did pretty well at Burnley. He comes into quite a reasonable 4 games before Newcastle's fixtures turn really bad over Christmas. But Brentford, Arsenal, Norwich, and Burnley. Um, I think Eddie Howe could pick up at least 7 points from those 4 games if he gets the team firing. And that's what Newcastle fans are going to want because the likes of Callum Wilson and stuff haven't become bad players overnight. They're good players. I just think they've been poorly managed. And hopefully now that everything behind the scenes is, gone on and the management's changed. And yeah, the ownership thing is a completely different debate, but they do have some good players there, particularly going forward. St Maximan, Fraser, Wilson. If they can get them clicking, I think come January when they make the defensive signings that they probably need, Newcastle shouldn't have any problems come the end of the season.
No, definitely not. And I think like Wilson and St. Maximin are actually doing quite well even under Bruce.
Yeah.
So I'd expect that to continue under Howe. It's going to be interesting to see what sort of team he puts out, whether he'll try and bring his sort of old colleague Fraser back into the fold, and we see that Fraser Wilson
Possibly,
partnership again. Who knows? But yeah, Wilson is the one that I think a lot of people are looking at.
Yeah,
I've always liked him as a player.
Yeah, agreed. Right, let's jump onto the Sunday fixtures then. And what was a good result for Arsenal defensive owners was not a good result for Arsenal Aubameyang owners. It was Arsenal 1, Watford 0.
No, bit of a horror show. I saw people brought him in, captained him a lot,
Yeah.
and obviously for him to miss a pen, that's a rotten luck. But on the flip side, you got ESR Smith Rowe still doing the business game after game at what is a very cheap price. He's down in the sort of Gallagher region of 5 point.
He's 5.8.
Whatever he is now, 5.8. Yeah, I think he was 5.5 at the start of the season, and
he was
playing. Yeah, he's playing very well. So I think a lot of people are going to be downgrading, I'd imagine, to Gallagher or Smith Rowe to maybe try and get like a Son or Kane elsewhere. I reckon
it's something I'm considering. I think I've still got Ismail Assar, for instance, in my team. He's been there for quite a while because I've just had other problems or other issues that I felt was worth it. I think now, Watford's fixtures are horrendous. It makes logical sense to potentially go to an ESR, depending on where I spend the money. I've got 2 free transfers for the break, so I'll have to have a look at that, and we might touch on it at the end there. But yeah, Smith Rowe, he's now 20% owned. People are bringing him in, and there's good reason. 3 goals in 3 games, it's exceptional. Whereas
exactly.
Aubameyang, penalty missed, got himself booked, -1. It's very harsh.
It is, but I mean that's FPL for you.
Yeah, and how many players do you think, like myself, benched Ben Foster this week and played Aaron Ramsdale?
Well, yeah, I did it too, and then obviously I've had the rotten luck of playing Foster when I benched Ramsdale in that 10-pointer. So typical, but I don't think anyone saw a pen save coming. So
Nah, and at least Ramsdale kept the clean sheet, and miraculously, he made one save in the game, was barely involved, still picked up a bonus point.
yeah, that's what you'd love to see, innit?
Yeah, I didn't get that. He bettered Smith Rowe, for instance, who scored the winning goal. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah, exactly. I'd call it bullshit if I didn't own him.
no, exactly,
But
100%.
I do.
Yeah. Let's jump on to the next game in which, yeah, I'll admit it, I was illegally streaming at the same time as watching the Arsenal Watford game, and it wasn't particularly great. It was Everton 0, Spurs 0.
All right, the police are on their way. Yeah, bit of a dull affair for Conte. His first sort of Premier League game in charge, and I guess they didn't lose it. Is a positive.
It was just such a bitty game. Like Son was terrible. He wasn't great at all. And
Yeah, it might dull, I guess, people's enthusiasm for hopping onto this Son
yeah,
and Kane thing because everyone was very much going into overdrive talking about bringing Kane in, bringing Son in, but maybe they'll think twice now.
yeah, wouldn't surprise me because obviously during the week they played the Europa Conference League game, didn't they? And they scored some goals in that. I think they won 3-2. And Son obviously got a brace, but yeah, I think moving forward, it's Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich, Brighton, Leicester is the next 6. So those first 4 games, Conte should be looking to target, and realistically, you should be expecting Spurs to pick up 12 points in those games. I think he's going to have a tough task because they may have looked more organised and maybe slightly better defensively, but going forward, they were still poor.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting to see if you can sort that out.
Yeah, and it pisses me off because that Leeds home game, ideal game to captain Harry Kane. Um, but I think I'm just going to fall back in the option of going fucking Mo Salah at Arsenal. That's not a fixture you should be picking Salah for if you've got the likes of Kane at Leeds, but that's the way Spurs are performing at the moment.
No, I can understand that.
Right, jumping on to the Leeds fixture then, and once again Rafinha picking up a goal. It was Leeds 1, Leicester 1.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Great to see Rafinha score. Barnes, well overdue return. First
Stunning
goal of the
goal.
season.
Did you see it?
Yeah, brilliant,
Oh,
brilliant goal. Well
absolute screamer.
overdue. But I imagine no one's on him now. He's owned by 2.5%, which are probably from the beginning of the season. So
Yeah,
however, after the Chelsea game that they've got next, they've actually got quite a tasty run.
they do.
So Watford at home, Saints away, Villa away, Newcastle at home.
Yeah,
It's pretty decent for a differential, but it'd be a bit risky to hop straight onto him anyway.
agreed. Yeah, and for those that are on Jamie Vardy at the moment, and were maybe
Me
content with you, for instance, are you considering just holding him rather than going to Harry Kane?
potentially, yeah. Just I feel like if I get rid of him, I'm going to get burnt.
Yeah.
However, I did sort of say to myself, if he doesn't return against Leeds, I'm going to have to think about shipping him out.
Okay.
It's just there's no one to go to
No.
really that looks appealing. No one's doing anything up front. Like
Yeah.
Antonio was, but now he's stopped, and
Yeah.
I've already got him. So it's a real lack of appealing forwards at the moment.
There is, yeah, and I think that will show in our final updates at the end of this pod. But yeah, forward players useless in this game at the moment.
Definitely.
As for Leeds, obviously Rafinha once again doing what Rafinha does best. I think that's 5 goals now this season. Picked himself up another kind of couple of bonus points, but just doesn't want to get a double-digit return, does he?
No, maybe he's scared of them. I mean, the yellow card obviously didn't help,
Yeah,
did it?
nah, exactly.
Taking his shirt off, but there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah, 100%. But other than that, wouldn't be going near Leeds assets at the moment. And final game, which an absolute cracker of a game to end the game week. It was West Ham 3, Liverpool 2.
Yeah, cracking game, and what a result for West Ham. Now they're above Liverpool in the league. They're well placed
Yeah.
for a title challenge.
Oh, I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Which
Absolutely
is
crazy.
insane. It'd be interesting to see if they can sustain this form, but they're playing so well as a
Yeah.
team. Zuma's been an excellent signing, and
Yeah.
he obviously scored in the game, but he's been very solid at the back as well. Bowen's form has been outrageous. He's still going, 2 assists in this game. He's on quite a run at the moment. He's only blanked in one in about 6 games.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just sensational for him.
no, he's been unplayable at times, and I think the difference between West Ham, say, last season or seasons gone by, is they're not solely reliant on one or two players. Like obviously last season it was Antonio and Lingard, for instance, for long periods. This season round, yeah, Fornals, Benrahma, Bowen, Antonio, they're all chipping in, and it's making a big difference because they're coming into games like this and they haven't just got one avenue to goals. Everybody looks like scoring except for Antonio, which is becoming more and more annoying.
Yeah, it's very painful. Like 7 goals and Antonio not to be involved in any of them.
I know.
I feel like it's going to happen. It's going to come sooner or later. I'm very reluctant to move him out. I didn't
Yeah,
expect a
same.
goal against Liverpool, so
No,
I'm not going to complain.
no, neither did I. I mean, it is a tough run of fixtures between now and mid-December. But then after that, I think from game week 18 through to game week 22, arguably you'd probably throw United in there. So even all the way up to 27, there's such a sustained period of good fixtures for West Ham that I don't think I can afford to get rid of Antonio and then pay the premium to bring him back in.
No, exactly.
And then jumping on obviously to the other side with Liverpool, the perma-cap Salah got himself an assist, but Trent stole the headlines for Liverpool with a goal and an assist in this game, and what a goal it was!
Yeah, sensational. Obviously from the free kick, beautiful assist from Salah, stopping the ball.
Stunning.
But no, Trent, we know what he's capable of, and yeah, 12 points without a clean sheet is very impressive. And I think sort of him alongside James or Chilwell and Cancelo and Livramento very much seems to be a sort of the template defence going forward.
I think you've basically just described my back line there, mate.
And mine minus Trent.
There you go. Well, talking about our teams, then should we jump onto how we did this week? Because I think we're both pretty pleased.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many differences in our team.
No.
We've both got Livramento, Cancelo, James, Ramsdale, Cancelo, a monster, score of 14.
Yeah.
Gallagher on 11 for me, Rafinha on 9, Salah on 10. The forwards letting me down. Antonio 2, Vardy 2, Ronaldo 1. Left quite a lot of points on the bench again. 21, so 11 from Foster and 8 from White.
Oof.
But yeah, 71 points. I'm very happy, and I've gone up from 1.2 million to 733k. So moving in the right direction. I've got 5 green arrows in a row, so up from 2.4 million. So it's all looking good.
Did you consider bench boosting?
No.
No.
If I'm honest, no.
Exactly. I've seen quite a lot of bench boosts around, and some have looked brilliant, and I'm like, I can see why, because they were benching the likes of Cancelo and Livramento, for instance, who had 2 good fixtures. But I've seen some bench boosts around where I'm like, unbelievable jam, where they've got Foster, for instance, on a bench boost with 11. You're not going to expect to get 11 points against Arsenal there. So yeah, I can see why you but yeah, game week rank of what, 88k, jumped up another, I think it was 10k up to 19k overall, so can't complain
Very
about
nice.
that. Don't really need forwards in this game, mate, because when you've got Ramsdale, Livramento, Cancelo, James and Trent, that is the majority of my points, and then obviously sprinkle in perma-cap Salah, Rafinha in there. I don't even need to worry about the 5 points that Tony, Antonio and Kane bring to this. It's madness.
Yeah.
But I do think forwards are a problem in this game, and they're becoming more of a headache every week, which is beginning to get a little bit frustrating because they're not returning, and obviously Antonio and Kane, for instance, are heavily owned but pricey assets. Obviously Antonio up at 8.2, but Harry Kane up at 12.2. Why am I paying 12.2 million for a forward that has got 1 goal and 1 assist this season, which was in the same game?
Yeah, I have no idea, but you can keep doing it.
I'm holding him for the next 4. Had they not got Conte in, I'd have got rid. But because they've brought him in, I want to see how Kane looks with England over the international break, and then hopefully he comes back fit and firing and absolutely holes against Leeds. That's the plan. Right, I think that pretty much ends the pod there then, James. So as you know, this month we are sponsored by Manscaped, and this episode has indeed been brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You can now join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code TSK20 at manscaped.com.
Yep, imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th gen trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. So it's time to get your own ball and hair body trimmer with Manscaped to make me time the best time and enhance your confidence. Your balls will thank you.
You love a bit of me time, don't you, mate?
I do.
So to get 20% off and free shipping with the code TSK20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% with free shipping at manscaped.com. And remember to use the code TSK20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. So I think that brings the pod to an end now, James. So as always, mate, it is a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Cheers, guys.